Ladies and gentlemen, this is Said David Farmer with Alchemy Event and Biomedics, where we welcome you to Alchemy Event webinar with Mr. Gary Bonnell. Welcome, Gary, and we thank you for joining us during your busy business hours to come in and give us the feedback on Akashic Record and your knowledge, so many 30 years of research. Thank you and welcome to Alchemy Event. Would you kindly give us the honor to introduce yourself, because the more I say, you're the best person to let us know about yourself. Go ahead.
Okay, so I have been working with the Akashic Records actively since the middle 70s, but it also began for me when I was very young, when I was 9 years old, 8 and 9 years old. I've used the records to basically guide every aspect of my life, except I haven't used it as a way to determine dating profiles, so I haven't done that. But I've used it to guide business, to guide my spiritual path, and basically for the last 35 years, I've taught Akashic Records studies in Japan, mainly here in the United States, but primarily in Japan. And now there are a lot of very effective Akashic readers in Japan. So some wonderful teachers as well who have taken up the process of teaching how to access consciously. We all access unconsciously. We put information into the records and pull information out of the records. And what we do is we teach people how to use the records consciously.
Interesting. And how long you were in Japan teaching Akashic Records?
Over 30 years.
Mm-hmm. In the meantime, you didn't come back to US over 30 years?
Oh, no. I was always based in the United States. I would basically, when I first started going over, I was working with a company called Voice Inc., and they're based in Tokyo. And I would come over there and do workshops, sometimes 4 weeks, sometimes 6 weeks at a time. And then after that relationship ended, we had agreed to 10 years of working with each other. After 10 years, then I opened up my own company there in my own school. And we had 2 floors in an office building right at Tokyo Tower. And we had a wonderful crew of teachers and instructors, and COVID changed all that. We are now completely online. Right. So,
audience, I've changed the parameter. Chat is live now, and you can ask questions. I hope it works this time. Mr. Bonnell, so give us the definition, or how do you define Akashic Record for people who don't know, like myself, exactly what Akashic Record means, or Akashic means, or this knowledge you have? How do you define it?
Well, when you look at a lot of the innovators that we've had historically, most of them will say that they tap into a field of knowledge, that they tap into this area that almost it's like it's speaking to them. And everybody from, oh gosh, Newton to Einstein even said that. Tesla said, I'm just a radio receiver. Basically, what the Akasha, and it's really called the Akasha, Akasa, meaning storage place in the sky, basically. And
it's like cloud, yeah, like an internet cloud.
Yeah, Akasa is actually the mind of the earth spirit Gaia. So when you think of Akasa, there are 2 records for each individual. There's the Book of Life, which records their spirit path. And then there's the Akashic Record, which records their soul path. So this is part of the problem that a lot of people have when they start.
Akashic related to soul.
right.
Mhm.
So, and what we're going to talk about today, I believe, is manifesting thought to hand. And that subject, it really is important, if we explore that subject of manifestation, that we understand what we are as humans. And in the Akasa, the mind of Gaia, the earth spirit, we are threefold beings. We have instinctual intelligence and ancestral memory in our bodies. We have a spirit that has evolved through all the different forms of life on the planet. And we have an eternal soul that's basically a particle from within the consciousness of Creator. So our body and our spirit are manifestations of Gaia's mind. And then our soul is a particle of Creator's mind. And Creator's mind gets to see Gaia's manifestation, her dimensional expression of life. So basically, that's what the Akasa is, and the Akashic Records.
The Gaia is a spirit form of the planet, or how do you define Gaia for people?
Well, Gaia is a celestial deity, and if you were to visualize her, you would actually see what the Egyptians saw, and that was this disk of energy with 12 rays coming down from it, the Atan. So Gaia is from her very inception, from the release, when she was released from the consciousness of Creator, she was a 12-part being. Like we're threefold, and she is 12-fold, meaning there are 12 particles from within the consciousness of Creator that forms her. And then she has gone through creation, implementing life where life can be, brought out. So Earth was one of those worlds that could form life. And so she took up residence here, literally in the solar system, and basically has formed all the life on Earth.
The 12th ray of light you're talking Egyptians believe in, is that only for Egyptian theology, or is it widespread all over other?
Well, other cultures have the basic idea of Gaia. A lot of them, because if you could see Gaia, Gaia would look like a disk, look like a sun. A lot of sun worship happened, and around the globe culturally. So
That's right.
But there were different words that were used to describe the earth spirit. So in the modern vernacular, we say Gaia. We have the name Gaia. But most religions, before the Abrahamic religions, most religions were earth-centric. They worshipped the goddess, the Mother Earth. And with the advent of Western religions, then God was off the world. God was masculine and not on the world.
Like the Sumerian goddess, what's her name? I saw in London Museum, the Muriel, and that was, I have the picture. So but anyway, go ahead. Yeah, the history shows a lot of feminine figures that we look at the past history of many Persians, or especially Grecians, or you name it. Yeah.
Well, everything that's substance, everything that is a structure is feminine. Your body, my body, feminine. We have a male gender because of our genitalia, not because we have some skewed energy toward a masculine. In the Akasha, it shows the energies of of masculine and feminine, the masculine is doing and the feminine is being. So the masculine is mastery and the feminine is mystery. But we are both. We are a combination
Mastery
of
and
two.
mystery. That's a good connotation that you put together. Mastery and mystery. Okay.
Yeah, so we're a combination of the two. And unfortunately, our social training is way out of balance with this, you know.
Yeah, there is no training in the Western world for these ideologies or theosophies or whatever philosophies or you call them. Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons why I found myself in Japan, well, a couple of reasons. One of them was that I didn't have to work through the Christian filter that's here.
Ah,
And
you're right. It restricts every movement.
Yeah.
Everything we say is against the church. Yeah, I had that problem face to face in my events that, believe it or not, one time many years ago in Los Angeles, Catholic Church sent a black robe priest, and it was shocking to me. And he was a great speaker.
Oh,
And he was very interested in our subjects and alchemy, and those days we used to. But make it short, he was a petty priest, but I'm saying he was not a very high level. But in the meantime, it tells you, shows you that there's an interest church has over these subjects, and they control how much information or is released. Or is that true? I don't know.
well,
I'm not putting any church down. I'm saying is
I've,
it like a controlled?
well, I'm an ordained minister, so
Oh, geez. Sorry.
so yes. So I went through. I have my certificate up there on the wall, and I've given lectures on the Akashic Records and soul travel and out of body travel and bilocation at different seminaries. One of them was the Beulah Heights Bible College in Atlanta, Georgia. And they were very receptive, except there's a certain line when you do this kind of work that you have to cross that line to really express the deeper metaphysical and
That's right.
esoteric. And that's where they draw the line. So,
Right.
yeah. But, you know, the idea that we're these amazing threefold beings, that we literally can have anything we command, that's so important. And to me, the reason it's important is that when we achieve that state, it gives us sovereignty. We suddenly then can feel ourselves as sovereign beings.
That's what the cosmic creation is giving us. The Atma, the cosmic seed inside us, give us the power of knowledge that other beings don't have necessarily. And this is a gift of the universe to us. And if we take the ego out of our humanity, I'm sorry, I'm going off the track. Go ahead, Akashic Records.
Yeah, so basically, in order to be able to manifest a purposeful need, you do need to know what you are as a human. And that's the threefold being. That's your mind, your body, spirit, and soul. That collaboration is your mind. It's not a brain here. As a matter of fact, the body, the intelligence of the physical body is situated in your gut, the belly brain, the hara. Your spirit, your intuitive,
the root chakra. The root chakra.
No, it's more in the space between the solar plexus and the spleen.
Navel.
Yes. So your heart chakra is where the spirit is based. And then your human brain is where the soul is based. So this
the brain, huh?
This collaborative mind where you have this ability instinctually, intuitively, and in an all-knowing sense to be on Earth. If you know that that's what you are, and
that's right.
You give up your inner conflicts, then you can
Yeah,
have
the inner
anything you want.
conflicts. Yeah, everybody has that. Not
Well,
everybody, but it's a most difficult task, fighting your own, like you say, the positive, negative inside you. Yeah.
well, it's the thing is that we radiate energy outward from the core of our being. And if the core is covered over in inner conflict or unresolved issues, then what we radiate out is that energy. So when we command, when we use our voice to command, that energy, that command has to go through those layers of conflicted energy. So what comes back looks more like your inner conflicts than your pure intention. So people say, well, how do I get rid of my inner conflicts? And I'm about to say it in a very easy format. Stop judging. That
Correct.
judging is what it's like this very bad relationship. You have an inner conflict, you have a judgment, they support each other. When you break the habit of judging, you also begin to release the inner conflicts. Now, this can become a problem for people because when you go to make a choice and you make that choice, you don't make that choice from your great understanding of life or your greatest moral thought. You make those choices from your inner conflict. Every choice you make is from your inner conflict. So the problem is that when people want something in their life, they have a vision and they command, and it comes back as the inner conflict, not the pure intention, then they feel like a failure. Now, back in the 50s, the collective mind began to change. And when you were growing up, you were taught the difference between right and wrong. Is that right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Now that's not taught.
You're right. My father was very restrict,
Right.
and he was very religious and very up to date in finance and technology and everything. And
But
even
what
in the
if
Middle East, that's 100 years ago. So
if right and wrong are not being taught, what's being taught?
nowadays, like you said, is nothing.
Okay.
I talk to my kids. They say, "Dad, why should we listen to you?" I say, "You're right. Why should you?" When the school, I'm sorry, I don't want to talk too much because the audience texts me. Let the speaker talk, but you're right. In the schools, I was told by my own kid that the teacher tell them, "You don't have to listen to your parents." What that means, they put in the brain when they're 9 years old, you don't have to listen to your parents. Are you kidding me?
Well,
Don't listen to your parents. That's the end of the chapter. Boom.
well, in the 50s, the shift happened away from right and wrong and became win or lose. So the collective consciousness is really in a win or lose state. And you'll notice this almost in everything, in business, in politics, in religion. It's, the national Christians now are at war against other Christians. They're trying
crazy.
to win.
Exactly.
They're trying to win seats. They're trying to win people into the
power and money, and church became a financier rather than go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, if we're in a win or lose and you have a vision and you talk about that vision, and when you speak, that's really a command. When you talk about that vision, then when it doesn't come back as your conversation, as how you're expressing it, it comes back as your inner conflicts, then you're on the losing side. You're not on the winning side. And so that just kind of reinforces that incredible energy that we have inside about win or lose. Right. And guess what happens? in this win or lose society, and it's been going on, like I say, since around the middle 50s, what happens is people become addicted to being right.
Anything they want to believe or think.
Well,
no standards.
The need to be right becomes this wonderful addiction, because when you're right, your brain gets flooded with wonderful chemistry. Now, we're constantly trying to be right, but in our brain, we are always the hero of the story. And that's that there's no self-reflection, real self-reflection anymore. It's, you know, we need to win inside our brain to get the chemistry that we want. So
that's right.
But guess what happens? The need to be right is an addiction. And the need to be right is also forming against humanity in the need to be right about how wrong they are.
Or is there such a thing as right or wrong? Maybe they're both right, or maybe they're both wrong.
Well, it's all perception anyway.
Yeah, it's all perception.
But in our cultures around the world, not just in the United States or anywhere else, it's everywhere. The need to be right has become the core dynamic for everybody. You're told what you need to do to be right, so you get selected for the job you want or in the profession you want.
That's
so
it.
People really don't care about what they are. They're trying so hard to find out who they are. And their biggest worry is, you know, that are complicated. These are complicated mental
Psychology.
Gymnastics.
Exactly.
So
even for learned men or educated people, yeah, that gets even harder.
Yeah. Well, something really weird happened in the 10 years between 2001 and 2011. That 10-year period is called an Akashic Day. 10 years is an Akashic Day. And in that Akasha, that day, we hit the transition, the shift point from an old duality cycle that began 13,000 years ago. We are now shifting into a unity cycle. And what happened was it changed how the energy, how our bodies use chi. So before that point, the heart was the mitigating energy. The heart created civility between the upper three and the lower three chakras.
Right.
And so, you know, we would ask people, well, search your heart. You know, if a person was having a struggle, now that heart chakra is not the mitigating chakra anymore.
I see.
After that shift point, the throat chakra became the powerful point in our energy system. So every word you say is like you're at a restaurant ordering off the menu. The waitress is taking it down. It's literally like that. Everything you say leaves you. It goes out through these layers of conflict and then comes back to you as the conflict. So as you release the conflict, you also release the need to be right.
Oh,
so,
interesting.
Yeah, the judgment, all of that judgment thing is to keep you aware of the hero that you are in your own inner stories.
A sphere of thoughts, yeah.
Right. So when we really get this, when we really understand it, all judgment begins to drop. We notice that our expectations are actually even dropping. And our perception is becoming much greater.
That's right.
Our judgments literally form the boundaries of our, what we call our reality. Our expectations control our perception. Our expectations control our senses.
That's right.
When we begin to shift away from judgment and expectation as the driving dynamics, we begin to actually see what's here. And what's here is really quite amazing. And when you can manifest to your purposeful need, and what that means, if you have created a vision, that becomes that's the energy line of purposeful need. You have a purposeful need to satisfy that vision. So when you understand what you are and you have created this vision that, you know, to initiate it, it has to be static. It can't be changing every day. When you have this vision and it's a vision that's empowered, then it's literally like reading off a menu.
I see.
Now, if you're in a fine restaurant, you never know the waiter's name. You never know the cook's name. You don't need to know the source that fulfills your purposeful need.
Who is the chef? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just eat the food and enjoy it.
Yeah. It's the elemental forces of Gaia's mind, her manifest creation, that brings you what you want.
And everybody want to see the source, whatever we call it, God or creation, or, you know, and they want to look at it. It's like a physical form. There is no such a thing as physical form for creation.
Well,
it's manifesting itself in a different mode, you know, in a psychic, I'm sorry, going off the track. Go ahead.
Well, to kind of qualify it, Einstein said time and space are persistent illusions. They don't exist. It's how we think.
How we think.
Yeah. So when we
oh, okay. The thought creates it.
Right. So if that's true, and our bodies and our spirits are manifestations of Gaia's mind, and Gaia is a manifestation of Creator's mind, and our souls are particles from within Creator's mind, then everything is mind.
Well, that was too fast. Can you repeat the whole thing again? The last.
Well, okay, so the Earth Spirit is Gaia, and everything on Earth is manifestation of Gaia's mind.
Correct.
Our spirit and our bodies are literally manifest forms of Gaia's mind. Our soul is a particle from the mind, the consciousness of the Creator. Okay.
That's right.
So if our body and our spirit are part of Gaia's mind, and Gaia is part of Creator's mind, and we are part of Creator's mind, then everything is mind.
Everything is mind.
Everything.
Okay, that's we should write that in gold and put Gary Bonnell on it.
But okay, so if that's true, then why does it seem so hard for us to navigate this world of ours that seems so, you know, walled in, and everything seems to have a structure? And why is it so hard for us to navigate? Well, it all began about 3 days after we were born. Up until about the 7th year, we learned how to please others.
What?
We learned how to please others.
When we are 3 to 7?
When we are 3 weeks to 7 years old, the process of our training is be the person I want you to be, please me. That's the parental thing.
Like sit down, don't talk, don't talk, don't play with your food, eat it. Yeah. You know, like discipline.
And then we watch our friends and we mimic them so that we can fit in, so that we can be included. And then we find we select a profession and we school ourselves toward that. And then we get lost in the process of that. So
it's a programming the parents or society or neighbors or friends. So keep pushing in their mind. Yeah.
Everything goes subconscious from that first 7 years. And that's the program that keeps us distracted from what we are.
What are you suggesting? We leave the kid alone?
Well,
I mean,
you
that's
want the
another
kid to
disaster,
survive.
right?
Huh?
That's another disaster. The kid without like coaching, be like a monkey. I've tried all this stuff on my kids. I have 5 kids that are grown up, so we used to do everything like you say, leave him alone. Let's see what happens. Then they become like a monkey, like do whatever they want.
Okay. So you don't have to leave the child alone. And what I'm suggesting is that the training we get is what keeps us locked into these boundaries that seem to be our reality. And we respond from that subconscious. We react from the subconscious.
I see.
So self-revelation is almost impossible until we really understand what we are.
That's right.
And basically the training that I do around how to consciously access the Akasha, or the training around having the thought and manifesting the form, that training is mainly focused on reprogramming the subconscious.
Right.
And, of course, when it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
And that was the whole idea. In our modern world, we can't do that. There are too many dangers.
Do you believe this education system should remain the same, or we rip everything apart? We write the new books for kids to read, a new education. And why do we have to put the kid 20 years in before going to college in some or whatever years, different countries? So why do we have to torture people with BS and teach them stuff that they don't even need to know? They used to teach us history,
We're
only
getting off track
mathematics.
again.
I'm sorry?
We're getting off track again.
Yeah, and there was a question audience asked about Akashic. They asked you, is there a person or somebody in charge of Akashic, or
Well,
or is it a
okay.
place
Yeah.
or something like that? I can go back to exactly read it, but go ahead.
There are angelic entities that, when a person goes into the Akasha, for the full Akashic experience, not just intuiting or opening a channel to the information, but when they truly go into the Akasha, it's just to kind of give a summary view, it's like the Library of Alexandria. It's the most amazing. I mean, when you're there, you're in a space, and that space is filled with every possible thing you can imagine, and just your thoughts guide you to wherever you need to be in that space. So there are Akashic masters, beings that help translate what you're seeing. So one of the key phrases when I teach people how to go into the Akasha is, if you see something and you don't understand, you can't translate it with your current awareness, then you ask the Akasha to give that same information to you in a way that you can understand it with your current mind. And that process begins to open the Akasha for everybody. We tend to say, like, I live in a town that most of the population is Spanish speaking. And my Spanish is what I learned when I was in my teenage years. So when I speak Spanish, they all kind of look at me like, you're a teenager, right? So the point I'm making is that we can learn languages, but you don't need to learn how to interpret the Akasha. You simply have to ask for it to be interpreted for you, which is really how the mind of Gaia works. So getting back to manifesting thought to hand. Did that satisfy your?
They're attacking me. Not shut up, but be quiet, let him talk. Audience, one of the ways we do, and Mr. Gary Bonnell, we already agreed with him that our webinars are very interactive. It's not a lecture type university that it's not boring, and I'm very interactive with my speakers. So if somebody doesn't like the format we're doing, my apology. They can go watch TV and we refund you.
Well,
So,
wait, okay. Let's not become adversarial.
Yeah. So my apology. Keep going. I'm going to shut up here and you start your lecture the way you like to present this.
Okay.
Because this is a big field and there's so many questions and we don't want to keep interrupting you.
Right.
And
So,
and you go ahead and start your main topic.
okay.
Bring it up.
The hardest thing for most people is to know what they are and to live that, to actually live their life from that knowledge as a threefold being, a body, a spirit, and a soul. And the reason why it's difficult is because of that early training. We are trained to please others. When we start reprogramming that subconscious and program it to what we are as beings, then our mind begins to be able to envision at a very different level. And the biggest problem most people have in envisioning is how the thoughts of the day creep in, like, do my shoes go with my outfit? I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but those kinds of distractions keep us from really understanding our manifest self. Because our throat chakras are now the center of energy in our energetic body, our subtle body, every word you say has to form in some way. Now, it could form in time down the road, it could form instantly as a synchronistic experience. And the whole point of it is that if you understand what you are, you release your inner conflicts by releasing judgment and become an observer, a witness, and you have a clear vision, then you're ordering off the menu. You are literally ordering off the menu.
Somebody says, is there a technique for us to access the records, our records or Akashic records?
Oh, sure. Yeah. This is this subject though today was I think it was titled about manifesting thought to hand. So I wonder if I need to get really deep into accessing the Akasha. Yes, it's actually very easy.
Well, you want to talk about it?
Okay.
I did once and in meditation, and I wanted to do it many years, and eventually in meditation, I got through the Akashic Hall of Records.
Mm-hmm.
It was very bright and very like not a library type, but there was a man, old man, very knowledgeable and spiritual. You could feel that, and he stopped me. He said, you're not allowed to look at the records. And that's was a stop right there. He did not allow me to open the records, and he was the gatekeeper of the Akashic.
Yeah,
and he was telling me, you need a certain permission or something. You need something. You open the lock and open the door. So I didn't have that knowledge to how to go through it.
We use guided meditation for people in our classes, in the workshops, and the guided meditations literally take your awareness through to the place within your threefold mind that is the entry into the Akasha. So where our thoughts go, our energy flows. And this is the basic principle of really human life. Where our thoughts go, that's where our energy flows. The problem that people have is it's hard to hold a stream of consciousness, a stream of thought long enough for that opening to take place.
The mind jumps around.
Well, sure it does. It's, you know, most people that practice meditation really aren't meditating. They're, you know, they're forcing themselves on a mantra or a concept, and it's like they're forcing their mind. Instead of having a mindful state, they're trying to create a different state instead of being mindful. So Akasha, being able to access it is you go through that mindfulness, that mindful state. Yourself is revealed. You go through the process of understanding your oversoul position. So let's talk about that for a moment.
Oversoul.
Okay, so our eternal soul comes to the mind of Gaia. Gaia, the vision Gaia had for humans was that each human could, with the presence of an eternal soul, each human spirit could elevate up to soul level. So that was Gaia's vision. So Gaia invited eternal souls from other systems to come in and witness her manifest creation, and then to guide that creation so that in the future, humans would be a earth body, an earth spirit, and an earth soul, instead of souls from other systems. So that's the vision of Gaia. So when a soul comes here, they come in through an energy field that's called the Logos. And there are 12 points of energy that act as portals for the eternal souls to come into the system. Once they're in the system, before they can incarnate into the real dense energies at Earth, they have to enjoin with another soul of equal harmonic. And so we see that symbol in the East, where you see the circle and then the two halves, each with a part of the other half. Well, that's the symbol for enjoined soul.
You mean the infinity?
Yes. And no, oops.
You mean
the circle, the circle with two equal places within it. That's the symbol for eternal souls enjoying. Okay.
That's right.
Okay. So when they enjoin, then they can incarnate into time and space without being lost to it. Because the density of the energy around Earth is such that if an eternal soul came in and incarnated on its own, it would get lost in not only the Earth planes, but all the 7 adjacent planes that are part of Gaia's mind. So
I see.
So this enjoining creates, when they enjoin, they also create oversouls. And so that oversoul is what manifests, it's like the architect of all the timelines.
That's right.
So each oversoul on average creates around 350 timelines. And in each timeline, they are experiencing almost always with a different spirit. We only have one
timeline.
Huh?
Each timeline.
Yeah, each timeline has a different spirit. Right.
How do you define a timeline in your vocabulary?
Well, a timeline literally is a beginning point and an ending point for an unfolding life experience, a collaboration of spirit and soul.
Mm-hmm.
So the birth and the death. So when you look at somebody's Akashic record or their book of life, you can see a genetic length of time that they have. Now, if they, get reckless or they do something to harm that genetic length of time, then of course they'll leave earlier. Or if they did something to extend it, they could leave later. So
I see.
So the point,
it's all by choice.
Yeah. The point of this is that those 350 timelines can then be viewed from the spirit's book of life or the soul's Akashic record. And when you blend those records, then you get this profoundly accurate view of somebody's timelines, your own timeline. You can look throughout your past or your future.
I see.
Now,
Yeah, one time, my apology. One time in meditation, over about few minutes, it showed me all my life in a very rapid, like computerized, every event you think from my childhood, my birth to, and I was shocked, like, what's going on? They're showing all my life to me.
right.
And it woke me up because it is shocking to see every frame of everything happening in life in a very rapid movement in 5-10 minutes.
Well, the interesting thing is if you go back to your point of birth and see your Akashic or your book of life from the point of birth, or actually even the point of conception, all the way through to this present time you're in, it can be shocking because the events of that timeline, you aren't going to remember them the way they're recorded.
Right.
Remember,
Some stuff we've forgotten.
yeah. Well, not only that, but you develop the need to be right. So any event in your past, you're going to be right about it. Instead of actually how it unfolded, you're going to create the story of how it unfolded. So
that's right.
You're the winner. So imagine being able to look across all your timelines.
That's amazing.
All your timelines.
That's dangerous.
Well,
I don't know.
It really explains, your soul's approach to Earth, because if you look across all the timelines, each timeline is a separate spirit. So if
separate is spirit.
Yeah.
Now you're talking multiple spirits within one being.
No.
Separate
The oversoul. The oversoul creates the timelines. In each timeline, there is almost always a different spirit.
I see.
So if your spirit in this lifetime can look across all of those timelines and see all the different spirits that your soul has incarnated with, you begin to see that this spirit had this tendency, this spirit had this tendency, and you begin to see how spirits are evolving, but you see the tendencies of the different spirits. That's why when you look in past lives, you must be there without judgment.
Yeah, that's the toughest thing. It's not easy to face or look at your past lives, even under regression. It's something out of this world.
Well, but you can't look at your 15-year-old self with the judgments you would have now. Your 15-year-old was doing what your 15-year-old knew to do.
Right.
So why would you judge that? Why would you look back and judge that? And part of the process of learning how to access the Akasha is self-forgiveness. So
is that what we see in Akasha when we open it? What is your experience or what you've seen, or you enter Akasha?
Okay, the book of life relates to the spirit of this timeline. Now, oversouls create around an average of 350 timelines, but your human spirit has been with how many different souls? Now, your human spirit, this guy right here that you're seeing the camera, this guy has retained all of the information of all of the souls that it has incarnated with.
And past lives.
In past and future.
And future. Well,
right.
Wait, this is a big subject now. Past and the future. Wait a minute. How do we digest the future part in this? Well, so there's no time continuum. We are in a ball of fish that swimming around each
No,
other.
no,
There's
no.
no time.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Your spirit is linear, it's time-based. Your soul is not.
Your soul is not.
Your soul is a simultaneous experience. It's
How do you
created
define a spirit and soul? What's your definition in your mind?
of what?
The spirit and soul.
Okay,
How do we distinguish this thing? What does it mean to you? The spirit, soul. Define it, please.
so your spirit is doing all the hard work right now. So every experience you have in life is based out of the spirit's evolution through all of its different forms of life. Your soul is a witness to that. Your soul will not interfere with the spirit as it evolves through time unless the spirit is creating such a mess that the soul can then intercede.
The soul is like a teacher.
No, the soul is a witness.
Witness.
Yeah, the soul's not trying to teach the spirit anything. It's actually collecting information as it witnesses the spirit going through life.
Oh, okay. Spirit is growing,
Right.
Evolving, ascending, and the soul. Okay, I got it.
Okay, so when you hold on, I got off track here. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But it's getting very interesting. We're touching the cornerstones.
So we were talking about time. The spirit is linear. The soul is simultaneous. The soul, when the soul's enjoined, the oversouls create the timelines, and all of the timelines are experienced at the same time for the soul. They're not, it doesn't go through this, it doesn't go through that. It experiences all at the same time. So if you go outside in the spring and you pick up a rose and you smell it, it's such a wonderful fragrance. Every rose you've ever smelled in every timeline comes to present in that whiff. So all of it is interconnected.
That's right.
There isn't anything that you've done in one timeline that isn't connected to other timelines. Mm-hmm. So you have as a spirit the advantage of being able to get data from other spirits as they have
interference of the past lives and future and present lives at some point bring every experience together or energetically. Go ahead. I'm defining and connecting. Go ahead.
Okay, so when you become enlightened, not self-realized, but when you become enlightened, you then know all of the timelines. So when you sniff that rose within you, you consciously connect to every time you've ever smelled a rose.
Wow, that's big.
It is. Well, we're amazing beings, and this is the part that it's so frustrating when you see people struggling so hard with the most minute things in life. You want to say to them, you don't have to make these choices.
Yeah, day-to-day problems they have bogged down.
Let's say that the spirit, your spirit right now, in the book of life, your soul, your current soul, has included this spirit that you are now in another timeline. Now, I said earlier, almost all of the timelines are with a different spirit. Sometimes a soul will work with the spirit more than once. When that happens, the spirit automatically has access to all the information on those other timelines.
Wow, that's big.
Well, think of the Dalai Lama.
The
same spirit and the same soul, 14 incarnations.
Mm-hmm. All of them.
All of the information of those 14 are contained within this one moment.
Wait a minute, going back to Buddha.
Okay.
I mean, is that what you're saying?
Buddha was beyond enlightenment. Buddha, when he was born, was awakened. And as he progressed...
So here's the question. you saying Dalai Lama could be the incarnation spirit of Buddha?
No, I didn't say that.
Like, no, or taking your words in that direction.
No. The Dalai Lama is a spiritual leader, and the soul who has worked with that spirit has worked with that spirit 14 times. The same spirit, the same soul.
How do you come to 14 times?
Well, this is the 14th reincarnation
Sorry.
of the Dalai Lama.
Okay, my apologies.
Yeah. So all of that vast knowledge is available to him in this moment.
Through Akashic.
Through the connection of that soul and that spirit in all the timelines that they've had together.
Which we call it Akashic.
Well, the Akasha is the mind of Gaia, the book of life, and the Akashic record. The book of life is for the spirit. The Akashic record is for the soul. When you combine those over an extended period of time, then illumination happens.
Gary, where we call you Dr. Akasha? Dr. Akasha, where did you learn this stuff? You had a master in
I've been
teaching this stuff.
accessing the Akasha for, well, since I was 9.
Did you have a teacher in Akasha?
Sure.
Who was that?
A being called Eli.
Being and spirit. That's interesting.
Midway being, they're called midwayers.
Mm-hmm. They help you. Yeah. So any moment you could ask him a question.
Well, a midwayer is a being that when you achieve a certain state, then you can have these beings that almost speak to you. Like it's almost like they
Teacher.
don't do it before a certain state because you could feel like you're
There's
losing
no
your
need.
mind.
Yeah.
Well, so
I had a few times, and sometimes they back off, like you say. They're not interested to show you anything more until you go to next level. Or I'm sorry, it was my case. I don't know about your.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you how I first got into the Akasha. Maybe that'll help this.
Right.
My parents divorced when I was 3. My mother married really badly. The second husband was a master carpenter, but a really abusive alcoholic. I mean,
Toughest stepdad.
Yeah. He used to drink a 5th of booze before breakfast.
Whoa.
So
Good luck with that.
Yeah, when I say this guy was. So one day, my older sister and my younger brother and I used to hide from him in the house. And when he would come home from his work and we would hear him fall, pass out on the bed, then we would come out, but we would hide in the closet. Well, one day he caught us hiding in the closet, and his response was to pistol whip me.
Oh God.
So
Sorry
on my head,
that.
on the top of my head were these 8 really deep wounds. But also now as a person who's gone through a lot of different teachers and was told what happened at an early age, what took place was the pineal gland opened completely.
Are you serious?
As a result of that beating.
I didn't know that. Beating can open, shake the pineal gland.
Oh, sure. Yeah, any kind of major head injury can have a major effect on the pituitary and pineal gland.
Sure. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So at the age of 9, my little brother got hit by a car. And every night I would go out of body to be with him in the hospital.
Oh my God.
And I noticed out of body that my hands were a different color and that I would put my hands on him and his physical body would respond. And then one day I was doing that and a doctor walked in and started talking to me as I was in my astral body. And that doctor was Eli. He became my mentor.
Oh. Wow.
And then after a period of time, Eli said, it's time for you to see this. And he took me into the Great Hall of Records.
Step by step, they took you there.
Yeah. So
you were at the Hall of Records.
yeah. So
What did you see there?
oh, well,
We just touching the main core of the business.
what can't you see?
I mean, oh, really? Everything there.
Well, and the thing about the Akashic Records is you don't need permission. Once you have consciously accessed the record,
consciously, yeah.
either through a stream of consciousness or a full Akashic experience, once you've done that, you don't need anyone's permission to attain information.
Now, if you have a specific question, you got to go open a file, right?
It's a little different than that.
And it's written in a book, right?
It presents itself to you in a way that you can most readily understand it with your current state of mind.
So you could see everything about everything, or you had to dig in one by one in Akashic?
Well, there are some, it depends on the subject, but there can be some searching that has to take place. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, at 12 years of age, I was planning on murdering my stepfather.
Wow.
I had all the plans worked out, how it would happen, you know, and I was shown what would happen to me as a spirit if I did that.
Wow.
So I ran away from home at the age of 12.
Wow.
And I
This
found
is
my,
a big story.
I
We should
found
make
my
a movie out of it.
biological father, and that didn't work out too well. He, very brilliant guy with a photographic memory and not a lot of patience for anything childlike. So he sent me to live with his mother, and his mother was a direct student of Paramahansa Yogananda.
Ah,
So at the age
there
of
you are.
13, I was initiated into Kriya Yoga, basically.
God bless his soul.
Yeah, and from that point on, I've met from the middle 60s on, I've met most of the world teachers.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about that. That's a very honorable life you have.
Oh,
Yeah. I respect you.
Yeah, I've felt amazing. My life has been an amazing thing.
Did you go to India also, or
Oh, sure.
when you say you sold these masters, was it in US or India or everywhere?
No, I've traveled all around the world. I was successful in business using the Akashas, so I took all that money and I tracked down enlightened people. I spent several years.
Guru hunting, yeah.
Yes. Well,
we've been there, yeah.
I wasn't looking for a guru. I wanted to see what enlightenment looked like in a spirit.
Did you achieve it?
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
I've found several enlightened people. One of the most enlightened to me was this wonderful lady. Her name is Guru Mai, or Chidvilasananda. And from her, I received Shakti.
That's right.
Which, you know, really blew open all my energy centers. And,
yeah,
you know, and she was the one who took over the lineage of Muktananda.
Oh, I met Muktananda in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
and just in 10 minutes, he changed our whole mental, you know,
then I got
very,
to
very easily attainable to your spirit quickly. He will change your whole karma.
Then I got to meet Pir Vilayat Inayat Khan.
God bless his soul, our master.
Yeah, so I got a chance to be at several of his gatherings, and but that was when he came to the States.
A Jew of Sufism.
Yeah, I do.
No, he was.
Yeah, and I met everybody from Punjaji in the north of India to Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh to.
That's right. Oh, right. You met Rajneesh in person.
Yeah, so and I studied yoga with a guy named BKS Iyengar.
Can I interrupt you?
Sure.
Off the subject. One of the things you mentioned, this lecture's topic is manifesting Akasha in your hand, and now you touch the success in business. How
Mm.
would you go from there to this,
What do
to
you mean?
manifesting? We're not talking about money, but we're talking being successful in matter of business. How would you
Well,
do that?
okay, so I was in the retail business with two other men. We had stores, and we would build our stores in places where people would say, "Why are you building a store here?"
What was
And
the products?
we did furniture,
Ah,
and a year later, that location was becoming center to a whole new development.
oh,
So using the Akasha to be able to guide where the stores would be, how to approach design, even. We designed all of our own furniture and had it made in Europe.
interesting.
Yeah, so you can use the Akasha information for anything.
So you go to Akasha, ask your question. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's a very deep knowledge that it can help a lot of our listeners. And
Well, the thing is though, most people don't know how to create a pure vision.
right.
And that's the biggest issue. Because of that, subconscious training kicks in automatically. One of the techniques we use is to help open up, the neural pathways. Is we have people buy a coloring book, a lot of crayons, and then color the coloring book with the non-dominant hand.
That's right.
And then that begins to develop more neural pathways. And also by changing habits, daily habits, how you dress in the morning, what time you dress, really changing all of your physical patterns, how you eat, what you eat. This all begins to help reorient your consciousness.
Anonymous attendee asking, is there a technique to release inner conflict?
Give up judgment.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
Just give up judgment.
Well, I mean, isn't that something automatically humans do, regardless? How do we contain that?
Okay, so the problem with humans is the brain is wired to a negative bias. And what that means is we want to survive. So our brain focuses on movements and objects and odors and intuitive impulses that keep us alive. So we have to alter that. We need to change that negative bias so that we can actually, what that does is that it builds expectations that close down our senses. We actually only hear what we want to hear or see what we want to see. And that's built on the expectation. So stopping judging literally is like lighting the fuse to clear out all that. Then getting the brain to work as a whole brain, as opposed to the left hemisphere, right hemisphere. We use all of our brain all the time, but if our focus is on one hemisphere or the other. So either analytical or creative. So we want the whole brain to work together as one expression. So you need to create neural pathways that are different. And so that corpus callosum can be more active. So there's a lot of things that can be done, but going back to it, the first thing is giving up judgment. Now, that doesn't mean giving up discernment. Big difference.
I see. Yeah, that's a given. Always be discernful.
Yeah.
My teacher taught me that before. Yeah.
Yeah. So discernment is something that happens between the belly brain and the heart brain.
Wait. What was the belly brain and the heart brain?
So science now tells us that there are neural networks in the belly.
Oh yeah, in the belly. Yeah.
And there are neural networks in the heart.
Ah,
So our instinctual ancestral memory is in the belly brain. Our intuitive intelligence is in the heart brain.
I see.
So discernment happens between the belly brain and the heart brain. Judgment is something that we are taught to do. It really doesn't have to be our experience. So releasing judgment opens up everything.
That's right. Don't be judgeful,
Yeah.
judgmental. And this is a announcement, middle of the program for people who logged in. We are Facebook living this minute also. And this is Alchemy Events. David Foreman. We are with a great teacher, Mr. Gary Bonnell, and everybody listening. They can follow us on alchemyevent.com, ALCHEMY event.com, and come and join us. Gary Bonnell, Mr. Bonnell would be our keynote speaker at the Biomed Expo in Los Angeles, March 24, 5, 6. Please join us in person. He will sign his books for you. And Gary, how many books you have?
Well, I'll bring one book.
You can't bring all of them, of course.
Right.
Your book's on Amazon, right, sir?
Most of the books I did years ago are out of print at this point. So a lot of them are being sold through used bookstores.
That's right.
Yeah. Now,
So they did not reprint.
Yeah,
you don't want to reprint them in US?
I have a new book coming out that's that really takes all the information and puts it together in one form from all the other books.
When is the book coming out? What's it called?
March. It's coming out in March.
You will bring it to the event?
Yes, I hope I'll have it in hand.
Yeah, please, audience, go to biomedexpo.com, biomedexpo.com. And we are 5D events, also 5devents.com. We are 5 level of consciousness, health and wellness, science, and spirituality and business. So we bring all these speakers and vendors, and we have 50 vendors, 39 speakers, and 500 people showing up. So hopefully we will see you in person. Otherwise, stream live at biomedexpo.com or 5devents.com or alchemyevent.com. And going back to our discussion, Mr. Bonnell, carry on Akashic. Let me zoom the camera on you so you can carry on our great talk on Akashic Records.
Well, the focus of this talk is about how to really manifest to your purposeful need. And that really is about having a vision. That vision becomes an unfolding path, and that becomes your purposeful need. If you really listen to anybody who's achieved their vision,
that's right.
That vision is something that they wake up to every morning and go to sleep to every night. People like Bill Gates or Cook or any of these people who've had these visions that they've implemented and seen through. They all, I think it was Carnegie, one of the first Carnegie said, the harder I work, the luckier I get. When you have a vision, you notice all of your energy goes toward that vision.
That's right.
And when you understand the mechanism of what you are, the dynamic of what you are, then every word you say supports the unfolding vision or the purposeful need.
Interesting.
So manifesting thought to hand, our vision is generated out of feeling and then out of thought. Every thought begins with a feeling. So we have this feeling of ourself, and then we have thoughts of that begin to form a vision. And what happens for most people is they get caught up in this is how it has to be. What you have to do is decide what you want to be when you grow up and then work toward that. You got to do this, you got to do that. that's really not our vision. Our vision is something that happens from within our core. I had a roommate in college. My first couple of years, I was doing pre-med subjects, and along with bonehead English. I wasn't very good at English. And his father was paying for his medical education, but he wanted to be an artist. But his father would only pay for his education if he followed him, and his father had been a doctor. So what this guy did was had a double major, an art major and the medical studies.
That's right.
When his father found out, the father threatened this young man, I'll not pay for anything. So this guy quit his art thing. But what he started to do was illustrate what was in the med books. And he later became the greatest medical illustrator.
Is that right?
In the US. And it was because that's what he was inside. And he learned how to pull it all together.
Right.
To be able to manifest that he wanted to do.
That's how we can manifest new projects. Yeah.
Yeah, well, but the vision, I mean, he always envisioned himself an artist, but he was able to take all of that knowledge and put it in such a way that it created this amazing living. I mean, he made millions of dollars.
Gary, at this time of the planet, we want to do so many projects or our friends or ourselves, but this issue of monetary system, sometimes is it monetary, or what is it that is stopping us to, like you say, manifest new projects, humanitarian?
It's never about the money.
I'm sorry?
It's never about money.
So what is it that it make us not be able to penetrate the to jumpstart these things? There are so many obstacles, hidden or non-hidden.
How many visions do you have? How many projects do you have?
We got 5, 6 good ones we want to do, and we look at it, and one of the major parts is the money business.
No, it's
humanitarian not, or otherwise.
Vision manifestation is never about money. It really isn't. It's about waking up to the vision first thing in the morning. When you open your eyes, that vision is there. When you close your eyes, that vision is there. You're constantly energizing it and empowering it. The problem with us is we get too distracted. We get off the vision. We aren't living the vision. We get distracted. Are my shoes okay with these slacks? What does my hair look like today?
Okay, let me give you an example. My apology. Let's say we want to, for example, we want to open a university for our groups in multiple subjects, or whatever subject we can put in there, and have teachers like you teach in the university. So first thing, everything we look at is money, 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 money. So you say manifest it, go forward. I mean, how can you have a university, online, offline, in person, either way, without the ignition of the money? That's the issue I'm asking.
Well, part of the problem is your vision really doesn't match the reality. Your vision is to have something proclaimed as a university. Well, it depends on which state you're in. It depends if you call what you're doing a university and you present that to people. If it is not a university, then that's fraud. So you have to go through the process of creating a university.
I see what you're saying with certifications and.
Yeah, then you have to structure it as a university. So you're putting obstacles in your way. And that's what.
Wait. What? I mean, the subjects we touch is out of this realm, and the moment they hear that we teach in these subjects, they will shut that university down. The way you saying, actually, with credentials, and I mean, we cannot teach about these sciences in normal university.
Yes, you can.
In medical field, we have number of doctors, they cannot even talk about the science they have
Yes,
because they get
can.
shot. Or in a space science, we have speakers or knowledgeable people.
Okay, if a religion can open a university,
Even in religion, we can't talk straightforward to people. I'm sorry,
David,
go ahead.
you're doing what everybody does. They put obstacles in. The people are taught to be problem solvers. They're not taught to be manifestors. So you're putting obstacles that you have to solve the problem, and then that takes all your energy away from the vision.
I see.
Your vision, if you don't mind, is to bring knowledge to people that they cannot get through standardized means.
That's right.
So you don't have to have a university to do that.
No, I mean, whatever you call it, has to be a platform, right?
Well, I have friends that run a place called the Ghost Ranch.
That's why we do events, you know.
Yeah, and they're doing incredibly well, bringing teachers from around the world and bringing people who have interest in the subject. So
awesome.
Not a university.
No, yeah, I mean, I shouldn't say university, but I would love to have a legal university credentials one day in that regards also, that people can go to such a new sciences, not this old same old dinosaur stuff they put in the books and universities we have.
Okay,
that they're useless.
So David, you put obstacles in your own way because you like solving problems.
I see. Don't get into the problematic part of it.
I had a friend who said, you know, I want to win the lottery. I need money. And I said, well, stop focusing on one source for that money. Just open yourself up to receiving financial support. And
That's
when
right.
he finally got it, people wanted to invest in his idea.
Ah, how cool.
Yeah. And that's how it really works. All this subconscious training keeps us in a loop. It keeps us looping in such a way. And what I heard you saying is outside people won't accept it. Judgment, when we give up judgment, we also give up allowing ourselves to feel judged.
Mm-hmm.
And that, when you come to that point, then you're starting to radiate. And you radiate out, and those who are of the same energy are attracted to that and find you.
Uh-huh.
It's almost like when the teacher is ready, the students appear.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Well, it's usually when the student is ready.
But yeah, when you're ready, your teacher will show up.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the opposite.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so manifesting is, well, the problem we get into is we buy into the system. And part of that you just said was we need money. Well, that's the system that you're buying into.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm going to share something with you. In 2008, in 2007, my wife and I turned over our portfolios to a large company so that company could guide our finances. Right. We got tired of, Linda, my wife, was a great day trader. She was hot. And we just got tired of all that. Right. And in my father's generation, in uncertain times, you bought real estate because real estate never lost value.
Right, yeah.
Well, guess what? 2008, real estate lost value. So my wife and I lost a couple of $1 million.
Wow. Yeah, everybody did. Yeah.
Yeah, just overnight.
Just
and
like that.
The lawsuit we had against this large company, we got back 10 cents of the dollar.
Oh my God.
So, money, it's there, it's a part of the system, but it's not your vision.
Don't allow it to rule you. Yeah.
Yeah, your vision isn't predicated on money. Your vision is predicated on radiating out a vision, and then those people interested in that energy, that idea,
Yeah,
will support your vision.
that's a good idea.
So,
Yeah, I mean, without your support, giving us your time right now, people like you who give us their energy, time, and and money even to support our efforts in bringing disclosures in all sciences. Yeah,
it's the pioneers get the most arrows.
the pioneers.
Yes, when the people in the United States started going from the East Coast to the West Coast, it was those first people that caught all the arrows. And that's the way it is in everything. When you're pioneering something, you're going to catch the arrows because
Exactly.
people, it's hard to change. It's really difficult.
It's hard. Yeah.
Well,
They're dogmatic. The nature of humanity is dogmatic and egoistic, and like politicians, they don't want to look at what people saying or want, rather than their platform or what they stand for.
well,
And they push the country that way. They shove it off. Go ahead.
The ego has a role in the relationship between the spirit and the soul. The ego is what organizes the inquiry. So the ego is part of the soul, and it's the organizing mechanism that the soul can observe your experience. What happens is this early training of win or lose, that it changed from right or wrong mid-century, last century, and it's become win or lose. And if you'll notice that all the professional sports teams and everything around that, wrestling and all that, it's not about entertainment, it's about who's going to win and who's going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And that's permeated the collective conscious mind. And when you stop judging and you stop allowing yourself to feel judged, then you know that vision that you have for yourself, that not everybody might want to support, that trained you. The people training you don't want you to be who you want to be. They want you to be a version of themselves.
That's right.
So when you get past that, when you let go of that subconscious energy, that program, and you begin to reprogram your mind, not your brain, your mind. And then the mind is a collaboration of body, spirit, and soul. When you reprogram how all that works together, then it's literally like you are in a fine restaurant ordering off the menu.
Awesome. Yeah.
The problem is, people go into a fine restaurant, they sit down, they get comfortable. It's a beautiful place. The menu, they love it. The drink menu, it's great. They order, and then what happens is a plate goes by, it smells so good, they say, wait a minute, I want that. They don't stay focused on their vision or what they've ordered. They get distracted by
million things. Yeah.
all kinds of things. All kinds of things.
Right.
And that's where the training for manifestation, the book, The Secret, and the movie, the documentary, The Secret, didn't give the secret.
Just talked about it.
Didn't give the secret.
You know the secret.
Well, I've been talking about it. What you are as a being, that's the secret. You're this amazing being with an enormous amount of information.
Wow, that's big. Yeah.
Yeah. Your spirit.
We are the universe.
Your spirit started in a swamp somewhere in early Earth. And when two cells got together to survive, that was the birth of a spirit. And then that spirit evolved up through every form of life on the planet. Your human spirit has been every form of life. Your
And even death doesn't touch it. You know, I
no,
thought maybe you die, everything ends.
no.
I tried uh, salt deprivation. The tank, you go in the salt
Sure.
water
Yeah.
and it's dark, and I experienced death. And it showed me that when you die, you're 110% more. Your brain gets so powerful,
Well,
but your body does not move. And here you are more active, and there is no death. And you hear everybody and everything, and you see everything more colorful, and there's more colors the other side.
right. So the wonderful thing, the secret,
That's
give
right.
up judgment. Give up judgment and give up its subtle form, allowing yourself to feel judged. When you do that, you release your inner conflicts. There's a problem. Everyone is guided, their choices are guided by their inner conflicts, not their great ideas. And so when you start giving up your inner conflict, what the hell's going to guide you through life? So that's where you have to understand what you are as a being. Because if you just started giving up your inner conflict and you didn't know what you were as a being, then that could be very devastating to people. So that's why we do it the way we present this, the way we do, is first discovery of what you are, then the discovery of how to release what's blocking you.
You
So
spoon feed them.
self-knowledge. Yeah. And yeah, the secret gave the outline, gave a nice outline. Didn't give the secret.
So by knowing this secret you just mentioned, so how do we, you say, manifest the cosmic energy you have? Is that what you're saying?
Well, your mind is a natural generator of that energy. So you're already doing it. The problem is the energy has to go out through those layers of conflict. So when it comes back to you, it looks that what you get back from the universe looks like your conflict, not what your intention was. But your collaborative mind, your body, spirit, and soul is an incredibly powerful being, and it's always powerful. You
Right.
can, when you let go of conflict, what happens is your awareness expands into your consciousness, and that collaboration of spirit and soul becomes so dynamic, you become profoundly I can't even think of the word, charismatic, because energy now is coming back to you. It's like Tony Robbins. He's very charismatic.
Right.
He has no inner conflict, none.
That's how we see in masters in
Yeah.
the Eastern philosophy, right? Because they're open the Akashic, and they're what we're talking about. Yeah.
But Donald Trump is the same way. He has no conflict. He manifests all the time because he has no conflict about all the crap that he puts out there. Other people have conflict about it. He doesn't.
Well, he could have been the best president ever if he was more positive, or he changed his way of attitude or
But
outlook, or but that did not
No.
happen. I'm sorry.
no,
Cheers to that.
yeah.
We're gonna new America with
Yeah.
new politicians. Hopefully, we let the oligarchs and all
Okay,
the
but
politicians.
David, what I'm saying is you don't have to be some great spiritual guru to express a state of no inner conflict. You can
That's
be
right.
a biker. You can be a Harley Davidson biker and have no conflict.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah, when you understand that what you give out has to go through all that and comes back to you as it, when you drop it, that's where you begin to really know that your vision is unfolding and manifesting.
Right.
And allowing yourself to feel judged is the last essence of judgment.
So why is it, according to asking you, why is it our politics and politicians go wrong? Is that because their manifestation, or what part they're doing wrong that they're going wrong directions?
It's a consciousness of win or lose now. It's not right or wrong. So win or lose, you do everything to win, whatever you have to do to win. Like there's this guy, George Santos in New
They
York.
just want to win. That's it.
Yeah, he had lied about his entire background about everything. And it was because he wanted to be elected and win. So there's no moral fiber to who he is. It's just win or lose.
I see.
And that's what's happened in our country.
That's our problem.
Yeah, but in the mid-century, last century, that's when it went from right and wrong to win and lose, win or lose. And when
in the old days, we didn't have these problems. Yeah.
Well, but when you really look at our society, our collective mind, there is so much energy given over to win or lose.
Yeah, and spend money on it. $9 billion on pre-election. Yeah. Come on, guys.
Well, yeah, but again, this is just what we've become.
That's we should, as conscious people like yourself, teachers, don't you think a group of people like yourself should open up a new field of dreams for humanity and the future, and develop a new system of thought, that America or the world can grasp?
I'm going to give a statement here. In a little under 5 years from now, there's going to be an event that happens on Earth. It's immutable. It's there in the Akasha. And that event, have you noticed how there's so much more UFO activity?
That's right.
Okay. And now governments are letting out the information.
Yeah.
Well, in 2027, March 27, 26, and 27, the off-world beings that have been guiding humanity's development are going to reveal themselves.
How do you come up with a date?
In the Akasha, time is a dimension.
Let me write it down. This is big.
Yeah.
You said March what?
March 26, 27. That's one interpretation. I'll give you the other one.
Of what year?
2027.
I see. They're showing up.
So
landing.
No. They're going to step out of their mimicking of
hiding.
These are thought-based beings.
Correct.
They can take any form they want.
Yeah, telepathic and...
Well, they can take any form. Shapeshift.
Shapeshifters. Yeah.
You can be walking...
Well, you're good. You are into cosmology.
They can walk down the street next to you and you would never know them.
We see them, yeah.
Yeah. Now, in that year, 2027, they are going to reveal themselves globally so that no one person can, or one culture can say they came to us first. We're the chosen ones. That can't happen.
All over the planet, people would, boom, see
Yes.
the energy and the beings.
Now, these are thought-based beings, which means they are eternal. So this is the godlike beings that guided, once the Mediterranean Valley filled up and became the Mediterranean Sea, and all those people came up onto the to the higher lands. When that happened, there was a group that came from the Pleiades, and they guided humanity. They were in physical form, but eventually humanity tired of them and humanity got rid of them. These thought-based beings
Or in
cannot-
Egypt, they used to show up on the hieroglyphs. We see all the testimonials.
well, these thought-based beings cannot be destroyed.
So they will change the Akashic record of humanity by
No.
showing up.
No, they won't. It's always been there. It's
They will
immutable.
assist us.
It's their showing up has happened at the soul level simultaneously. It's always been there. It's always going to happen.
So what is the purpose of this time? What good will do to humanity, according to you?
So a long time ago, they bioengineered humans to increase intellect, to increase cooperation between tribes. When they did that, how they did that was they placed little knots on the DNA spiral. And those knots, when humanity reaches a certain harmonic or a certain expansion of awareness and knowledge, those knots release. Well, beginning in the 10-year shift, that first knot released and it began a mutation. And that mutation is going to create humans to be non-gendered.
Yeah, we hear about that, as you know, with different speakers. And what happens to creation? I mean, the having a new generations if we lose the gender.
No, then every human can reproduce at will.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and this is getting us ready to leave the planet. If we leave the planet with the current reproductive system, it's very inefficient. You need a male and a female.
Oh.
So when you leave the planet, if you have to have a male and a female, what happens if one gender doesn't make it?
That's an interesting thought, you know.
Well,
I never thought about that one.
In 2057, the next mutation happens. And that is humans are going to become thought-based.
So we go into space at that time, according to.
So that's going to change the collective consciousness on Earth when these beings say, okay, here we are, we've been here all this time. As a matter of fact, we are some historical figures that have helped change the direction of humanity. And now we want to reveal ourselves so that we can now get all of this going much faster, because Earth has a reset coming up, that life on Earth is going to get reset. It's happened in the past.
Yeah, multiple times, yeah.
Yeah. The last one created what we think of as the Grand Canyon on Earth, but it also created the huge scar on Mars. A plasma strike hit across the solar system, and it destroyed a planet-sized moon that was orbiting Jupiter called Maldek, and that asteroid field is what was left of Maldek.
Actually, it's good. Let all this digital and what you call it, humanity is in a digital format right now. Like our technology is digital, and it's very volatile. It means our energy grid can go down, or all our satellites can go down in a second, and we can sit like a duck in the all day in the in the dark. So
you're thinking of Carrington events.
Yeah, let this whole thing go, and we will rebirth in a new format, like you say. And somebody typed in there, does that mean when they do that in 27, does that mean we going to be a thought form beings, or?
No, what they're doing is demonstrating what we will become. And the biggest thing is to literally present the universal mind to humanity. Now, the problem is there have been a lot of people who have been intuiting a coming shift like this. They talk about fifth dimensional awareness. They talk about the Aquarian age. A lot of different languaging about it. But the biggest problem for humanity are the extremists, the religious zealots.
Yeah, the zealots, yeah.
When these people,
The church,
when they see
8 miles of bones under Catholic Church and the records of history of man, they don't want to share it with us.
okay, so when the zealots see these thought-based beings, what's going to happen is they're going to try to destroy them, and they're going to find out they can't be destroyed. And that's going to turn the whole collective conscious
They
mind.
can or they cannot be destroyed.
Cannot be destroyed.
Yeah, there are beings in the universe too. We have to respect it.
They're immortal. They're thought-based. Every culture has mythology about thought-based beings.
They have as much as right to be in the planet as we have.
That would be an interesting conversation to have, David. So anyway, big subject, Akashic Records.
It is big, yeah. I'm glad you joined us today, yeah.
And
we got 10 minutes to go, and you want to get the conclusion, or what do you think?
Well, the conclusion to this is we have a choice to unfold our life. We can struggle through the old pattern, the old paradigm, and we don't have to, but we can make that choice. There's nothing wrong about that. Energy is just energy. We assign whether it's positive or negative. We make that assignment. So when you understand that energy is just energy, then you no longer have positive or negative biases or prejudices, then energy can work for you in whatever way you want it to unfold your vision.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
the vision is important, huh?
The vision is what gives the direction. Where your thoughts go, energy flows. When I've taught people how to consciously go out of body into the astrals or to bilocate, some people call that remote viewing. When I've taught them how to do that, the whole basis of that is where your thoughts go, energy flows.
Is that out of body experience same thing?
Sure, yeah. So, but that's the whole idea behind our manifest reality. Notice that where we place importance, where our collective mind places importance, that's where all of humanity moves toward. Yes, there are a few groups that say, hey, wait, we protest, that's not where we're going to go. Like this genderless thing. There was a group who started a study in the 30s to determine the quality of Western life.
That's right.
And in 1930, they have a question on that survey. How do you respond to your birth assigned gender? Are you satisfied with it? 0.08% in 1930 said no. They don't like their gender. They did the same thing in 2020, the same survey. 42.6% of the respondents said they didn't like their gender.
Wow.
So when this transmutational knot released, it affects the consciousness first and then the body. So as we move forward, notice how the conscious mind is split. There's this group that hates the idea of genders beyond a male and a female.
That's a big subject. We should have a 2-hour talk on this thing one time.
And there's that group. I studied with the Cherokee Indians back in the 80s, studied for 4 years. Do you know that before the white settlers came, they had 7 genders that they recognized.
How's that?
Well, it's the same 7 that people are recognizing now.
What that means, 7 genders?
Well, you have transgender, you have cisgender, you have queer, you have homosexual. I mean, you've got all of those genders. So it's not just one male or
I mean, I understand the government right now want to push the gender business into schools and our kids' lives, and whatever reason they have.
Well, what I'm trying to illustrate with this, David, is that when this transmutational knot released and it affected the consciousness of humanity, and not the body, but now the consciousness first, notice how everything is getting divided, how there's a huge group against any change.
Oh, okay.
And here this other group is trying to understand what's transformed within them. Why are they this way? And then this group is saying you
So
can't
once this thing become one thing, and
yeah.
it makes everything easy for everybody.
In 2027.
Wait a minute. At that moment, the family, there's no more marriage, there's no more having kids, and in 5 minutes.
I have gay friends who are married, and I have gay friends who adopt children.
No, I'm saying at that moment, we become familyless. Like you born your kids in the lab, next day you go, they deliver it to you, and you don't need a wife for that. Is that what you're saying? How does this scenario works?
Well, the scenario is that once the consciousness is affected, the bodies will begin to be, and the people who are truly genderless,
there's no more pregnancy.
The ones that are truly genderless can reproduce at will.
Okay. Like aliens lay eggs, or they have other means of regenerating babies.
Right. All the off-world beings that are going to show themselves are all genderless.
Correct. Well, no, yes and no. We have evidence of contact Pleiadians have wives, and beautiful wives, and they have 2 or 3 wives, and they live in a very nice homes with gardens and big lands, and not a high-rise stuff in Pleiades. So we have contact evidence. So not all of them are like that, the way you said.
Okay. All of the off-world beings that come to Earth, including the Pleiadians, are genderless. They can recreate genitals if they want to, but they are born genderless.
Okay, we will dig into that in our alien events and alien event speakers. We got, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you listen to our alienevent.com speakers and go to alienevent.com. Check our videos there. This is a big topic Mr. Bonnell is touching. And
I'm going to go take a nap. This has been.
Yeah, you need a break after this. We twisted your brain too many different directions. So this is a Alchemy Event University, not in a we can't say university. Well, whatever you can call it, find a new name.
Center. How about that?
School of Thought. The School of Thought. Yeah. And we are glad you joined us, and God bless you. And you have a second session. We hope you can show up on January 7th. We programmed on Zoom that, and we will start the ticket sales on that January 7th, 2023. Please go to alchemyevent.com and check the information.
And in conclusion, I would like to say that manifesting thought to hand, we gave the outline for the basic principles today.
Definitely you did. I give you a great hug and a big hand, and thank you so much. God bless you.
And we've managed to include a lot of other subjects, which is kind of fun.
Please come and meet Gary March 24, 5, 6, 2023 in Los Angeles. Sonesta 4-star hotel, used to be called Crown Plaza, near LAX, in person. Gary will have few talks, and he would love to meet you and sign his book and new book. And what else, Gary, you want to say?
I just want to say thank you to those who were interested, and I really hope to see you in the future.
Definitely, yeah, and we love you, and you're a great asset to the consciousness society, especially Akashic science and alchemy and all that above. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you. Take
Thank
care,
you.
everybody.
Take care.